This is the Main Event, Mark's podcast, brought to you by Belly Up Unhinged Radio Network Sports. I'm your first host, lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, cat dad, and the man who does his slop dropping in the bathroom. I am Troy. And with me, as always, is a main event collector and figure hunting warrior. He is the WWE Walking Wrestling Encyclopedia and the Stone Cold to my dude love. It's Greg. What's up, Greg?
If you're slopping in the bath, you might want to change your diet, dude. Just,
well,
to each his own, but you might want to fix that. But
well, I did go to the Cheesecake Factory last night, so there's that. But that is not slop out there for anybody out there. I just messing around.
You just lost that potential sponsor, but whatever.
If the Cheesecake Factory wants to pay for me to eat their kind of expensive food, more power to them, man. I will do that and put them over. Yeah.
Do they differentiate by state? Because out here it's extremely expensive. But
yeah. I'll tell you this. Me and my wife have never went there and walked out for less than $70. So
is that including the takeout pie though?
Yeah, it's the pie. Or we get the pie with it.
That's like $50 right there. I'm obviously exaggerating, but
right. Kind of sucks, but either way, transitioning to something that didn't suck, in my opinion anyway, was this show. This
was a sleeper show, I think, for all intents and purposes. Because this was a show to get to a show that was getting to another show, and when you think about it.
Right, yeah, because there were two in your houses between the quote-unquote big shows of SummerSlam and Survivor Series. It was In Your House Ground Zero, and then next month it's In Your House Bad Blood, or Bad Blood in Your House, whatever.
And we know what's going to happen there. So, this is a transition to that show, which isn't even the show. Kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, and the thing is, this show, to use like the Wrestling Observer like fan rating system, whatever, of like thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, whatever. I'd say thumbs in the middle, pointing up a little bit. It was a lot better than I expected it to be, because I honestly was like, it's probably gonna suck. It's it's like right after SummerSlam where they kind of blew their wad, and they're coming up on I know what happens at Bad Blood, and then they're coming up on
for me.
Yeah. And then they're coming up on Survivor Series where, they're about to blow their wad again. So it's like, man, what's this going to have? And oddly enough, it had some stuff, man. So
it does have one of my biggest pet peeves in all of wrestling, and we'll get to it. I'll let you know when we get to it. But it's one thing that I'm not going to say every company, but I know WWE's done a couple times, that to me is the biggest bunch of BS you can possibly do. You might know what it is, but I'll say it when we get to it. It is the worst. This is unforgivable, in my opinion.
Well, there's one match that is just like an absolute mess as far as...
Oh, no, it wasn't. But it was.
Booking. Yeah. And then, well, the booking of it was an absolute mess. Not saying, that it was horrible, but then there was another one that was a
I'll
mess.
Say it was horrible. I'll take that. I'll lay on that grenade.
Well, there's two. You and I might be thinking about two separate matches, because there are two separate matches that are a complete mess. One of them was not bad. One of them was bad. So we'll get to that.
That might have just clarified. Well, okay. I think we're on the same page.
Right.
Okay.
So
my mistake. But clearly, we do not rehearse this show, folks. And I think it shows. We're professionals.
Exactly. But either way, so we got a lot to cover today. But before we do that, we're going to pause right quick to let you know that the Main Event Marks is sponsored by Swift Lifestyles. Their clean energy drinks and focus enhancers, great tasting vitamins, and big brain nootropics that are made and shipped from the USA. Go to swiftlifestyles.com and use our special promo code Main Event Marks. That is all one word to get 15% off your order. It's Main Event Marks, all one word, for 15% off your order. But now we're done with that. We're going to get into our first break, where we're going to tell you to buy our stuff. And on the other end of this break, we're going to dive into the news and notes from the time. This, as far as the news goes, this is certainly a transition time, but there is some stuff to talk about that's pretty interesting. We'll get to it right after this. Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. Get ready to rumble in your new Main Event Marks merchandise. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, masks, hats, stickers, pins, and much more on our Redbubble store. That's maineventmarks.redbubble.com. You can also pick up some awesome clothing items with the latest updated show graphics on our Bonfire store. That's bonfire.com/store/main event marks. Support your favorite retro wrestling podcast and pick up some cool swag on our Bonfire and Redbubble stores. That's maineventmarks.redbubble.com and bonfire.com/store/main event marks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan McCarthy, and I'm the host of the No Credentials Required podcast. Start your work week with the Monday Drop-In, where I talk about the sports beat in the Capital District, also known as the Mighty 518, as well as Metro New York sports from an upstate point of view. I also give a life lesson from a weekly sports story, so you might learn something from that. I also have a midweek podcast where I interview different sports personalities and talk about a wide array of topics. Take a listen and subscribe on your preferred podcast app, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Also check out our social media channels on Twitter and Instagram, BellyUpNCR, and Facebook.com/BellyUpSportsNCR. We're a part of the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network in association with Godzilla Media. No credentials required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/Main Event Marks. And we're back. Just to let you know, the Main Event Marks is sponsored by Shocked Energy. Shocked Energy is a healthier alternative to traditional energy drinks that gives the energy that gamers need while in a long session without skimping on their health. Their products come in a powder form to mix into your water. You can either choose the green apple or watermelon boxes. If you want to try both, you can get the sample kit, use our link in the podcast description, or simply go to shockedenergy.com. At checkout, use our promo code MAINEVENT, that's all one word, to save 10% off your order. That's promo code MAINEVENT to save 10% at checkout. Also, if you're tuning into a wrestling podcast to hear about wrestling and you want it gimmick and politic free, you probably want the same out of your products. Are you ready to ditch the gimmick coffee? Coffee Brand Coffee is fresh roasted to order using only the highest quality coffee sourced direct from farms around the world. They've got bagged coffee as well as K-Cups. Not into coffee? Well, they've got great teas and cocos as well. At Coffee Brand Coffee, their head coffee roasters have mastered the art of unlocking flavors hidden inside their beans. Each batch is custom crafted and curated to accompany unique flavor profiles. Click on the link in the podcast description or go to coffeebrandcoffee.com and use our special promo code MAINEVENT, all one word, at checkout to get 5% off your order. That's coffeebrandcoffee.com and use the promo code MAINEVENT to save 5% at checkout. News and notes time. A major story. Roll Tide there. 5 o'clock somewhere. It's about to be 5 o'clock here as of recording time, so.
I'm drinking, it's called Izzy Sparkling Water. You ever heard of that? Yeah, I think
No.
it's Izzy. IZZ.
Wow. As long as it's not LaCroix.
Pretty damn good. No, God, no. That stuff
LaCroix.
sucks.
Yeah. Look, I don't care about
Good
losing
Lord.
out on the LaCroix sponsorship.
That's not sparkling water. It's like flavored flat soda.
Yeah. They said that one person was like, never drink a LaCroix pure. It sucks major balls. And I'm like, they all suck major balls.
Well,
anyway.
Maybe some of them suck ass. That one sucks balls. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Don't assume, okay?
Right. We're starting off here with some mixed martial arts and going into a little bit of wrestling here at the end. But a major story is that Dan Severn has signed on to fight at the next UFC pay-per-view in October, filling in for the injured Mark Coleman. Who's he fighting? I didn't look it up.
I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah,
Not in the moment, anyways.
Yeah, I have no idea. But either way, if Severn wins, he's expected to retire from shoot fighting as UFC champion and use that fame to jump into pro wrestling full-time with the gimmick of a UFC champion who never lost the title. Severn has already been wrestling for IWA and in Japan, and the WWF is interested in bringing him in to feud with Ken Shamrock as well, and there have been negotiations for months.
That feud never happens.
Yeah, and that's because these two legitimately... Well, it's because those two legitimately do not like each other. So...
I think it goes back to when Severn didn't like him because he said he was a juicer, and Severn obviously wasn't.
He said that about Severn?
I heard he lobbed... about Shamrock. I heard he lodged some stuff at him about steroids. And Shamrock later years would admit he did it too. So he wasn't out of line, I guess. But
wow, yeah. And I know Severn
looked like your uncle or something. So he never really did roids. You can tell because if he did, he was not using it correctly.
Yeah, right. Well, let me see. This was so this would have been in UFC.
This is pre-Dana White, though, I believe.
Yeah, but looking at he doesn't have
still
any
the freak
UFC.
Show.
He doesn't have any UFC fights around this time because September
It could have been canceled.
Yeah, because on September 5th and September 20th he had fights were in International Fighting Championships. I've never even heard of that. And then in October he had a fight at Pride 1 against Kimo Leopoldo.
Leopoldo, yes.
So I don't know, because this says UFC specifically. I don't see any UFC fights around here.
Well, it could be like one of those reporters that just assumes every wrestling is WWE, so every fight's UFC. So.
Uncle Dave usually knows about that stuff, though, so I'll give him that. So I wouldn't expect that. I do see in February of '97, he was at UFC 12, and he lost to Mark Coleman.
Probably that one. Probably got delayed because of injury.
Well, that was the one. I mean, like I said, that actually happened way back in February, so that wouldn't have been the one they're talking about. It doesn't look like he ever had a fight in UFC after that, actually. So
it's a very real possibility. Just walk down the contract or whatever. They weren't really binding before Fertitta's got it.
Yeah,
kind of like free for all. Do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, he lost. Like I say, he lost to Mark Coleman in February at UFC 12 for the inaugural UFC Heavyweight Championship. Heavyweight title was unified with the UFC Super Fight Championship. Super Fight?
So I want to say that was just their tournament. The tournament, bro. And whoever won the tournament got a belt.
The belt, bro.
Championship.
Yeah,
oh, damn it.
God dang it. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But moving on here, Steve Austin.
A UFC fight not happening when it's advertised, that never happens. That's weird.
I know. What was the one show that they just completely killed? Like it never happened?
Years ago. It's like 130 something.
Yeah, I remember that happening. I was just like, they skipped it. They were just like, well, it was scheduled, but now it's not happening.
No, yeah. I was like, why didn't they just push the numbers on all the future ones back a number? I didn't get that.
I know.
Get advertising, marketing, all that. They're already out there, the posters and everything, but I don't know.
It's like the 13th floor at a hotel. Like it doesn't exist. They go from 12 to 14.
I would want to stay on floor 13 anyways.
Yeah. Steve Austin's first match back will likely be at Survivor Series in Montreal, although he may work a few house show matches or something before just to knock the ring rust off.
It happens. I don't know about the house show, though. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Who does he... I forget. It's been a while since I watched Survivor Series. Does he fight Owen?
Owen Hart. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought.
And oddly enough, the crowd is pro-Austin. So, it's like they love it, but they didn't give a damn on it. That kind of sucks to say, but it's true, man. Go back and watch it. They were pro-Austin. Like, they hated Shawn Michaels, love Bret Hart, their Canadian hero, but man, they loved Austin, booed Owen. Not like a heavyweight, but it was clearly Austin favored.
Yeah, it sucks.
It does, but on the other hand, it tells you what a major star he's about to become.
Yeah,
When you can get cheered over a Hart in Canada, you're doing something right.
Yeah, it's weird. Speaking of Canada and the Harts, Mark Henry is being sent to Calgary to train with Bret Hart. The WWF is trying one last Hail Mary. He's trying one. The WWF is trying one last Hail Mary with hopes that they might get something out of their multi-million-dollar guaranteed contract investment with Mark Henry.
If that was a Hail Mary, boom, they caught it.
Yeah,
because he does go on to do stuff.
It takes a while for him, because the thing is, I feel like for years, until he hit, oddly enough, until the ECW thing, and yeah, you can say the sexual chocolate, whatever, but until he became like the big mega heel in ECW there, I feel like he was just another guy on the card.
For the most part, but I mean,
for the amount of money
like I've heard multiple people say, you know, people say that, but you need those guys. So
yeah, and I'm not saying he sucked, but it's just like for the amount of money they were paying him, he was not a top guy until like the last.
Top guy.
Yeah, the last while of his career, he was on top for what, 2 years maybe. Off and on.
Well, wait, you know, I think I've said this multiple times in this podcast. I've been binge watching 1994. I'm in mid 1994 now. So Nikolai Volkov just comes back, and apparently he was a power lifter. I did not know this.
Huh?
Did you know about that?
Anyways, but he looks like it.
This is 1994, right? The Olympics aren't happening until '96 in Atlanta, and Vince McMahon randomly name drops Mark Henry. So like he must have been thinking about this fool ever since 1994, maybe even before. Who knows?
Yeah, I know they were courting him for a while, and then they.
He wasn't even an Olympian yet. I mean, I assume 94 is getting ready for the trials, so clearly he was known like as something.
I know JR and Bruce Pritchard were talking about. They're like, well, he's a big old like 400-pound SOB that can dunk a basketball. Like, why would you not want to hire him? It's like, yeah, I get that. He certainly seemed like an athlete, but then he gets in the ring and everybody was like, oh my gosh. It took a while for him to get it.
He had the look, he came down the ring, and then
that damn bell had to ring. Well, hey, if you're going to send him to say, I guess the other Pritchard, Tom, couldn't get anything out of him, so they sent him up to Calgary for the Harts to get something out of him.
And that's saying something too, because like everybody and their brother who's somebody praises that man.
I know.
So if he can't do it,
that's like ultra boot camp going up to the dungeon for the Harts. Like, you just see Stu coming in. He's like, "Yeah, I heard the doctor couldn't get nothing out of you. How about you put your arm behind your head? Let me show you a couple of holes. Yeah, make you squeal like a piggy."
What do you think Bruce wanted in return for trading Mark Henry?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't get where you're going with this one.
Exactly where I'm going.
Oh, what do you think? You send that big bastard up here. I send this other big bastard down there. You get the rhino job.
There it is.
God dang it, pal. We already employ him.
Give him a raise.
Yeah, right. Yeah, how about you give the rhino a bump in pay? He's got 2 daughters to support.
I love when Pritchard tells those stories because it just shows how much he cared about that man. He didn't have to worry about Bret or Owen. They were set. He just cared about that man, dude, so much.
Yeah.
And good for him. But it's like, man, like 100 stories about that.
And then his actual blood son, Smith, I think after a while, he was just like, yeah, that's a crazy bastard. Don't hire his ass. According to everybody, Smith Hart was the crazy ass of the family. So Andre the Giant.
Keith was too. Or was it Bruce?
No, well, Bruce wasn't crazy. Bruce was just very into like he thought he was
me.
He thought he was something. Yeah.
Yeah, he was very me.
Yeah, he for anybody who doesn't know Bruce, he's the one that kind of looks like Owen.
Oh. And apparently in Survivor Series 94, I know we're getting off the rails, but apparently in 93, they all railed against him because he tried to make the whole match about him.
Yeah.
When it's supposed to be all Owen's big thing.
He's like, oh, I'm gonna get the hot tag and I'm gonna come in and do whatever. And it's like, what the no. And what was that one event? Trying to think now where he like Stu was in the front row and somebody messed with him and he was gonna come. He like socked it. Was it Austin? He freaking socked.
It was Austin. I believe wasn't it the Canadian Stampede now in the archives?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, now in the archives. Yeah, they said freaking Bruce got like too into it and freaking like socked Austin or something. And he was like, what the hell, man? We're working here. He's like, quit trying to get yourself over.
Oh, Justin Roberts reference. I like that.
Yeah. Keith was the one that I think just left wrestling and became a firefighter. So good for him. Doing some good.
It's good for him. Because, I mean, I couldn't do that.
Yeah,
most people don't get enough credit, by the way. We always go straight to the Army and everything, which you should, but firefighters, man.
Yeah, no,
tough as nails.
Yeah, you guys can keep that. Thank you for doing your job. I appreciate it because I sure as hell am not going to do that.
That's partially why I favor Q on the Impractical Jokers for that reason.
Oh, yeah. But a couple more WWF stories here. Jerry Lynn worked a match on Raw against Brian Christopher and was super impressive, but they didn't offer him a contract because they have too many people under contract already and have trouble getting them all full-time work. However,
wait, that's a thing? You can do that? You can not just hire somebody? Because, wow, maybe someone should tell Tony Khan this.
I was going to say, is Tony Montana listening?
Wow.
Yeah, so anyway. But,
ironically, that's where Jerry Lynn is now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it says, so, however, expect him to be brought back more often based on his great performance. About that.
Yeah, about that. He'll go be Mr. JL for a minute, and then he'll probably have his best stuff ever.
Was he
ECW?
Yeah, was he already Mr. JL, or was that coming up?
I don't remember. I might be way off with that. I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know you're
totally off with that. I just wanted to throw that in there.
He was one of the only shining lights in ECW, so there's that. But well, something that wasn't a
time where he was like one of the very best wrestlers on this damn planet. And I mean that.
Absolutely. Yeah, him and Rob Van Dam were just gold in the ring together. But something that was not gold or a shining light, Scott Putsky, the son of Polish power Ivan Putsky, has signed a WWF contract.
Oh, man.
So
they tried, man. They did. They tried.
I will say this. He had a great look. And
stupid as hell mustache, but yes.
Did he have a mustache on this show?
I don't know this show, but he grew one that looked like kind of weird. It looked like he was a teenager trying to grow a mustache.
Oh, Lord. I never saw that. Thank God.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was hard.
But he was freaking jacked and ripped, tan, had long, Fabio hair. He was a good-looking dude. He looked like something. God, nobody gave a damn. And he just...
Look, I'm not trying to crap on his dad, but did anyone... was his dad a big deal, really? Think about it.
In New York, he was, yeah. He was, well, actually, in quite a few territories. I guess he hit it big in, not a main event guy, but he was a big act that drew some money in, the Texas territory. Bruce Pritchard talked about that at the time.
I'm not familiar with him, so before anyone asks me, I'm not familiar with Ivan Putsky, sorry.
Well, in Texas, which is, I think that's where he's actually from, is Texas. But he did a gimmick.
He's from Poland, you get it right.
Oh, yeah. He did an actual, Polish guy gimmick, where, that's why he went with the name Ivan Putsky. And he talked in the thick accent, and he couldn't really talk English, and the crowd loved him, I guess. And then he goes to the WWF up in New York, and they have him, he had a mustache or whatever. He shaved his mustache, he combed his hair, he started speaking English and whatever, and he was just a big jack dude, and he drew some money. But then I guess he comes back to Texas like that, and they're like, oh, dude, New York ruined Ivan Putsky. What the hell is this? We can't book this.
Never drew a dime.
Well, somebody who did draw a few dimes here. The reason that Jim Cornette is no longer being used as a manager is because they keep him busy with so much work, like announcing on Shotgun Saturday Night, writing for TV, and other office work, so he doesn't have time to also go on the road.
Another effort.
So this was around the time where he had to work with Vince Russo, and he almost blew his brains out.
He has a more colorful name for him, though.
Yeah, I'll leave that to all of you out there. If you don't listen to his podcast, you can find that out. But
call it human feces and a stain, and we'll go with that.
Yeah, it's another word. It's a more like vulgar term for a skid mark. Yeah, we'll say that. But yeah, a few things around this time. I don't know if you remember this, and Bruce Pritchard talked about it on his podcast. Around this time, in this month, he was on commentary, and there was like a big brawl between the warring factions, and they brawl into the parking lot, and they legitimately smashed the crap out of his real car.
I remember him telling this. Yes.
Yeah, and I remember he's on commentary, and he's getting into it and whatever, commentate, and then he's just like, "That's my car."
Now I remember that because Bobby Heenan used to do the same thing whenever they did something in WCW. Like he always said, "That's my car." I didn't think anything of it.
He must have been in on it. Yeah, because I guess that was just a rib, and like Bruce Pritchard was like, "Oh, we bought him a new car. It was fine, whatever." And Jim Ross didn't think it was so funny. He was like, "Yeah, he had to drive all the way back to Connecticut like that, and it was kind of cold out. They smashed out his windows, like that was really." And and that was his car. Like, that's kind of effed up. He's like, "Yeah, we bought him a new one, but like, come on." Like, yeah, I wouldn't have been. That was one of the only times I was like, maybe Cornette didn't overreact that time, because I would have been pretty hot too.
Did he at least get a better one?
I sure as hell hope so. I like how Vince is like, "Aha, good crap, pal. Just buy him a new car. Put it on the company tab." Like, you can afford to go buy Cornette a brand new car, but you can't afford to pay Bret. Okay.
Well, a $20 million deal versus a $20,000 car is a big difference.
Yeah. Time cars were a little cheaper. Then, the very next year, he buys a brand new car just for Stone Cold to destroy it with freaking cement.
I mean, every night.
Yeah. So, God. Whatever. Either way.
I'm sure USA paid for some of that.
You'd like to hope. Here's the last WWF story I have here, and this one's kind of funny as it's all speculative. The WWF is looking for a way to elevate Hunter Hearst Helmsley to the next level, so he may end up being paired with Shawn Michaels after all, which is what Shawn has been pitching anyway. There have been discussions of putting them together with Rick Rude as sort of a new version of the Clique, but it may not happen. No, it's none of that.
Never going to work out if they do that.
Yeah. Well, the Rick Rude thing didn't work out very long, but still.
Well, not by their fault, though. Well, I mean, I guess it was their fault, but not for specifically him.
JR had a weird take on this. I don't know what you think, but Jim Ross was talking about, he's like, I never understood why Rick Rude was there. He's like, I don't think he really added anything. He's like, how much mileage are you going to get out of this guy? He can't bump. He can't do anything.
I often wondered the same thing. He literally just came out with a briefcase and sometimes used it as a weapon, but that was it.
Yeah. And where he was saying, he's like, where he walked out after the screw job and he was on Raw and Nitro on the same night. He's like, I thought it was good TV. He's like, on one hand, I was like, it's kind of effed up, that you would do that to us. On the other hand, I was like, what did we really lose? And he's like, and I was thinking, he's like, from the WCW side, what the hell were they getting? But
apparently he wanted Bischoff to pay off his Boys of London, right? So he can wrestle.
Yeah, and Bischoff didn't, and apparently that caused some pretty bad blood between them, even past death, to the point of where Bischoff showed up at his funeral and got told to leave by his wife, which I think is pretty effed up. It's not like Bischoff did anything to him, and he literally paid him to not wrestle. I don't know. Hey, I know you're paying me and to, be a manager and all this other stuff, but can you pay me more so that I can wrestle? It's like, no. Well, F you then. I don't know. I'm on Eric's side with that one. It's like, why was that an agreement when he signed the contract? Because apparently not.
I don't think so. Why the hell did he sign that contract to begin with? If that was going to be part of it.
I always hate that when people come into a job, they sign up like they know the job duties and they agree to do it, and then they're like, "You want me to do everything? We agreed to before I took the job, and you're not going to pay me more for it? Like, F you."
I'm nervous with this a-hole.
Yeah, it's like, did you agree to the job? That's a different discussion for a different time. But speaking of funerals, I mentioned earlier, at the funeral of wrestler
Good Lord, that's not a good segue.
Well, at the funeral of wrestler Jeep Swenson, both Hulk Hogan and James Caan gave eulogies. That's a hell of a duo to be giving your eulogy.
Wait, like James Caan from The Godfather?
Yeah. And Elf.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how he knew Jeep Swenson. I know Jeep did some acting stuff, but I didn't know they were ever in anything together. For anybody that doesn't know who Jeep Swenson is, he was Bane in Batman and Robin. And
and unfortunately that came out right before he passed away. What a hell of a legacy to leave.
Yeah, you drop that garbage right before you die. That's sad. And then
Although
also from a
go back and watch that movie, Bane was probably one of the only things well done in that. Like honestly, except they used him as as a slave, like a brute.
I think
his mannerisms and everything, he was pretty decent.
I think his look was great, but they made him a brainless idiot that was all hopped up on venom, and it's like, oh my gosh, like the way he was portrayed in Dark Knight Rises. That was more like the real Bane, but the look, yeah, bro. the look was pretty good. I will say that. From a
now
wrestling,
I'm thinking about it too. I forgot he had that stupid button that Poison Ivy would hit, and he'd go nuts. Like, where the hell did that come from? I forgot about that crap. Okay, maybe I gave it too much.
I mean, he did pump himself up with more venom here and there, but not in
the. I remember she would hit the damn button, and that'd be like his. Okay, like winding up to go.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so bad.
Well, what are you talking about, Greg? He had the Bat credit card. Never leave the cave without it.
Shut up.
And Bat nipples.
I can tolerate Batman Forever, but no.
As a kid who watched that movie growing up, I like it. I will admit.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, when I was watching it when it came out of the theaters, good Lord, I thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Right.
And then, grew up.
Right. As an adult, I can admit it's not a great film. As a kid, I loved it, and I'll still watch it, whatever. I love Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey, so.
I have the Blu-ray here because I have all the Batmans on Blu-ray with like a set, so I do have it. I don't really watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift as well. I don't watch it.
Well, it's like, you get the wonderful lines from that movie, too, of, oh, it's boiling acid. And where
killed the dinosaurs, dude.
Oh well, Batman and Robin, yeah, that one was.
God, what were we talking?
Needed the laundry karate. That was fun.
Actually, now I think about it, Robin was the only saving grace of Batman and Robin. Because that was pretty damn good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, back then he had a career. Oh, is he still in the cop show now? I know we're.
I think so. Yeah.
Either way, back to this though. Everybody in the WCW locker room was talking about Swenson's death since he was just there last year for a pay-per-view main event, and his death has been widely attributed to. I know. And his
now in the archives. Sorry.
No, that was the last podcast. We have not covered it on this one, so it is not in the archives. But maybe I'll dig up the old audio and post it one of these days.
Because TJ hates you people.
Well, I don't want to rewatch it, so I don't want to do another review of it. But either way, that was uncensored.
Real quick, for those who want to know, it's uncensored 95. 96. Yep. Go watch it if you dare. That's what we're talking about. It's the Alliance to End Hulkamania.
Which, oddly enough, kind of does end Hulkamania because he leaves. Yeah, because he leaves after that, and then he's gone for a little while. When he comes back, he joins the NWO. Boom. No more Hulkamania. But either way, they're talking about his death since because the pay-per-view he was just there for, and his death has been widely attributed to his years of steroid abuse, which lots of people in WCW are familiar with. I don't know what he means by lots of people, but I'm assuming one of them, his initials are SS, and he has a brother whose initials are RS. Just a hunch.
Go blue. Sorry. I feel like you wanted me to say that.
Choke on it. Choke on what you blew. Either way, ECW star Perry Saturn has signed with WCW. Apparently, lots of ECW talent has been contacting WCW recently, and there are rumors that WCW is trying to raid the company. Raid him of what?
Oddly enough, Perry Saturn's done this twice in his career now, but I think he'd have some talent. I mean, this is 97?
Yeah, but is that
Jericho,
really a raid?
Jericho, Eddie already there. Dean, Rey Mysterio already there. Moving to Benoit. So who's left? Jerry Lynn? Well, he's not even there. We just said he was there. RVD, Lance Storm.
Yeah, well, they would get Sandman.
I'm not even comment on that, but
if I had to choose between Sandman and Dreamer, I would have went with Dreamer all the way. But yikes!
Dreamer is a bigger asset than just wrestling too. So yeah, I would have.
Right? Yeah, you can't even get wrestling out of Sandman. So anyway, there's a lot of blame going around about who's responsible because it's believed that someone in ECW is facilitating all these talks. I think they figured out it was Todd Gordon and fired his ass.
And there was one other one. Do you remember who? I think we've already talked about this.
Was it Bill Alfonso?
Yeah. And his
supposedly
was that bloodbath with Beulah.
Yeah, I know he was. I don't think they could prove that he was doing that, but he was at a WCW show, so they took that as he was a rat. I don't know.
I would. If you're in a contract with this company, you shouldn't be at this company.
Yeah, especially if that's like your main rival. But John Cronus won't be jumping with Saturn to WCW because apparently Saturn has been wanting to go solo for a long time and had been trying to split up the Eliminators since last year, but Paul Heyman wanted to keep them together. Yeah, I don't know.
I just find it funny he wanted to go solo. He goes to WCW and they throw him in Raven's flock. A group.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know. I'm back and forth on that because I think the Eliminators could have been fun in WCW. They were an actual good team. Cronus.
One of the few they had, yes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Cronus was good. I think he had some possible substance abuse issues. I don't know if that, for sure. But yeah.
Did he pass away?
He did, yeah. Not because of drugs, by the way. I want to point that out.
I had no correlation. That was a bad segue in that question. I was just trying to figure out. I feel like he passed away recently. Not recently, but
yeah. Well, I just wanted to let anybody know. It's like because I at one point because I had heard about that he might have had substance abuse issues, but yeah, no, he had an enlarged heart. I guess it was an actual medical condition that he knew about. It wasn't because of drugs. So. But anyway, on Nitro this week, the NWO combination of... here we go, man, with this one. The NWO combination of Kevin Nash, Syxx, Buff Bagwell, and Conan did a parody of the Arn Anderson retirement promo from last week, and it's generated a lot of controversy. The initial idea was for the NWO guys to do their parody, and then the Horsemen would run in and clean house on the NWO and get the expected big pop. But on the day of the show, Eric Bischoff nixed the Horsemen run-in. According to rumor and innuendo, it was Kevin Nash who nixed it. But Flair was supposed to do a promo later in the show, but he was so pissed off about the NWO parody that he refused to go out and do it. Flair had no problem with how he was portrayed in the parody, sure. But he was very protective of Anderson, who is one of Flair's closest friends, and he was furious about the way they made fun of him. Anderson was also upset, especially when he talked to his family and found out that his wife and 12-year-old son had been bothered by it. Anderson got into a confrontation with Kevin Sullivan about this after the show, Anderson was said to have considered quitting the company, while Flair's contract is up in February, and he's resisted signing a new contract so far. Yeah, that's going to cause some issues with the contract thing.
I believe all that's in the archive.
Yeah. That goes on for a while, because I remember it was...
literally a year, dude. He doesn't return until September. Well, once he leaves, doesn't return until September of '98. So
yeah. Unforgiven in Your House what took place right after WrestleMania, so I think either April or May. They were in North Carolina, and Ric Flair was North Carolina, and Ric Flair was circling the building on his car phone, talking to his lawyer and Bruce Pritchard at the same time, trying to see if he could show up on that pay-per-view.
That would have been a huge boost, because that pay-per-view sucked the high-hard one.
Unforgiven?
Unforgiven 98, yeah. I'm pretty sure that was the Inferno match, and
it was
Do Love Austin match, which, by the way, correlates into what we're going to talk about. Another one of my biggest wrestling pet peeves. It's same exact thing. We'll get to it.
Well, this guy was a pet peeve for certain people, but you and I liked him. Disco Inferno returned to WCW on Nitro, doing a bit where he was dancing with the Nitro girls, and then caused Hugh Morris to lose a TV title match. Oh no.
Hugh Morris.
Uncle Dave says that Morris is really agile for his size, but don't confuse that with being a good worker, because he sucks.
Oh, go to hell. No, he doesn't.
Yeah, it's like I never thought Bill DeMott, Hugh Morris, whatever the hell, I never thought he sucked. I never cared about him. Never thought he sucked. Whatever. For now, it appears that the plan is Nitro will become an NWO show, while the new Thursday show will be a WCW show. But that could still change.
Oh, look, even Bill's plans changing into his damn writing. I like that.
Yeah,
you gotta give him props for that, dude.
Hashtag plans
that
change.
Could change.
Yeah. It could possibly happen. But it's not that I'm reporting it wrong. It's that they changed it to make me look bad.
Real quick, there's an article I was reading from someone posted it, and it said in the article, I forget what the whole context was, but in the same exact sentence, he goes, "So this is what's going to happen, or this is probably what's going to happen, maybe."
My
probably
gosh.
Going to happen, maybe.
Perhaps. Maybe.
Probably going to happen, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to win the lottery, maybe.
All I can think of is I think it was the pilot episode of that American Dad, where he comes out, he's got that. Show? Say what?
Is that the animated show?
It's made by the same guy that does Family Guy.
Yeah, so it's the animated show, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you remember that the terror or the terror color codes, whatever, they're like, oh, we're in code red today for terror, which means that terrorists might attack America again or whatever. They did that after 9/11 for a while. Well, he had that on his fridge, and he pushed the arrow, and he's like,
"You be very careful out there today. We're at Terror Alert Orange, which means something might go down somewhere in some way at some point in time. So look sharp."
And it's like, that's all I could think of was with Uncle Dave. It's like, this may happen somewhere at some time, perhaps, maybe, but plans may change.
Oh man, every football team plans on maybe perhaps kind of winning the Super Bowl, but plans are going to change for 31 of those teams. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, right. Well, this one I was like, oh god, this sucks. He got hurt out of the wrestling.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay. Not where I thought you were going. Okay.
Yeah, but Hector Garza suffered torn ligaments in his arm when he was installing an air conditioner at his house. And the unit slipped and fell on him while he was on the ladder.
Oh, Lord.
He fell, and the AC unit cut his arm up pretty badly. He'll be out of action for a month or so.
That sounds so damn fake.
Yeah, I know. Like, what the heck? But that sucks,
I don't think he would ever come back to WCW. feel like he just disappears. And if he does, it's like sporadically.
I know he shows up. He's in the early days of TNA. But
yeah. And he's in 2005 TNA when, unfortunately, he was jacked up on roids. You can tell he was huge.
Yeah.
And I know he had a roid problem. I'm not just making that up. I heard he had a bad problem with it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's sad. I didn't know that about him. But either way, on WCW's Saturday Night Show, according to Uncle Dave, Dusty Rhodes, quote, set a new announcing record by going an entire match on commentary without mentioning the name of even one of the 6 competitors. It was a 6-man...
Tell stories. Don't talk about the wrestlers.
Apparently, it was a 6-man tag match featuring, quote, some of the Mexican guys.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That sucks. Yeah, Dusty was unique on commentary, we'll say. Speaking
he was
of
unique in everything he did, dude.
Yeah, really. Speaking of WCW and Mexico, Eric Bischoff held a meeting with AAA President Paco Alonso and Promo Azteca's Conan to try to get the two sides to work together and put together a WCW promoted joint Lucha Libre pay-per-view next year. But the meeting didn't go well. I know, I was shocked too. And the two sides are already back at war. A couple of EMLL stars no-showed their recent show and surprise debuted the same night for Promo Azteca. What a dick move. As for the meeting, word is that Conan and Paco Alonso were cordial at first, but by the end of the meeting, both men were yelling and cursing at each other.
Oh, man. I just dawned on me, have we had like a single news segment in the past couple months when we don't talk about Conan? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, it's always something. But I don't know, man. Like, I wonder if he was ripping a bong while this was all going on, too. That just seems to be his default. This story kind of wraps up something we talked about on previous 97 episodes in Mexico, by the way. Former UWA promoter Carlos Meñas was finally released by his kidnappers last week. The story seems to have been covered up by the media and is being kept pretty quiet. So no one knows if the ransom was paid for his freedom or not. We actually never find out. He was released and he lived until 2015.
So when we talked about this a couple weeks ago, I looked it up just for fun. And apparently a lot of people didn't cover it because they thought it was a hoax.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if he had hoaxed before or it's like in that part of the country there was a hoax. I don't know. I'm not going to comment. I don't know. But I said a lot of people didn't cover it because they figured it was just, it said, quote, another kidnapping hoax. They didn't specify from him. They just said another kidnapping hoax. So do with that what you will.
Huh. Yeah, because it was him and another guy that both got kidnapped. The first guy got released. We talked about that on a previous episode, one of our 97 shows. It might have been the 100 Nitro. But either way, he got released, and now less than a month later, they released the other guy. So, and I don't know, they just stopped covering it.
that could play into the whole hoax thing. Like I said, I don't know if they said this guy was pulling a hoax. I don't know if they said this country was pulling a hoax. I don't know if they said whoever reported was a hoax. I don't know. But clearly,
weird.
There was a reason for them to think there was a hoax.
Right. That's weird. Well,
that's pathetic, by the way. If you hoax a kidnapping, you deserve to burn in hell for that. That's not cool.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. Oh, I got kidnapped by the cartel. Quick, send money. Theft up.
Oh, I get emails like all the time.
Wow.
I do.
That's weird because I always get emails from African princes saying that I need if I send them a $1,000 they'll repay me in millions.
Oh, Africa, huh?
Yeah,
I'm lucky. I got Bangladesh and Armenia.
Those ones I don't get princes. I get quote unquote podcast promoters. Anybody with a podcast with any sort of reach will tell you that happens all the time. But anyway, now to Japan. where Kensuke Sasaki defeated Shinya Hashimoto for the IWGP World Heavyweight title, ending Hashimoto's 489-day reign as champion, which at that point was the longest in title history. I think Okada beat it, but at that time it was a big thing. I did not watch Japanese wrestling at this time, so I really don't know who these guys are. I've heard the names of Hashimoto and Sasaki, but I couldn't pick them out of a lineup. This one was kind of funny. Steve Williams and Gary Albright versus Kenta Kobashi and Johnny Ace. Johnny Ace!
Oh, man. Sign my ass up.
In All Japan Pro Wrestling was shockingly horrible. I know.
Okay, I gotta ask before you go on. Did he really write shocking?
He might have. That might have been me. I can't remember at this point who did what.
Okay, I want to know the context of that. Did he really write shockingly? And was it sarcastic? I have questions.
He wrote it because, well, here's what Uncle Dave had to say about it. He says that it was possibly the worst All Japan match of the decade, and says that he wouldn't have believed how bad it was if he hadn't seen it with his own eyes. Considering the talent in the ring, he says.
All right, I'm done.
He said it's quite possibly the worst match of the year. He said everybody except
in the ring.
He said everybody except Kobashi looked bad, but Kobashi wasn't good enough to save it. It gets the dreaded dud rating. Oh, only a dud, huh?
Yeah, you're not. I don't know if you're just saying that because we've literally seen him give negative stars. So because even in a dud, it's above negative stars, right?
Right. We get negative stars on this show, so.
Well, nothing below it. Okay, so the old joke, wink, wink. 5 star or 6 stars if it's in the Tokyo Dome, but if it's in Japan, it can't go any lower than a dud. Got it.
Yeah, right. Hey, if this was in America, this would have been negative 5 stars, no buys. All right.
And if it was in the Tokyo Dome?
Well, if it was in the Tokyo Dome, like right there, it might have got a star. But here it was just in some random Japanese venue, so, dud.
People think we're being funny, by the way. Nope, he really is like this, folks. He won't admit it, and his followers won't admit it, but he's like this.
How dare you say that, Greg? Because he's going to give you one more chance after that bad take. How dare you?
Okay, yeah, but that's on Twitter.
Yeah, right.
I'm saving that one.
Got that. You're waiting to load that bullet. Speaking of negative stars, by the way, in FMW, Atsushi Onita is scheduled to face Wing Kanemaru in one of their usual exploding ring death matches.
Oh, good Lord, have mercy.
He's not going to have mercy on this. Well, interestingly enough, Onita has vowed to retire from wrestling if he loses, which Uncle Dave says takes a lot of nerve given all the controversy of him going back on his word on his first retirement a couple of years ago.
That is weird because I don't think there's ever been a professional wrestler that retires and then unretires or doesn't retire after saying they're going to. It's never ever happened.
I know. I'm shocked too. Like, blow me over with a feather. Out of Japan now, back to America.
Roy Jones Jr. in there. You can throw a Tom Brady in there, but never a pro wrestler.
Yeah, right. So back to America. A couple of things. One is an actual person who passed away. Another one is a promotion that passed away. So the promotion here, this is interesting-ish. The ownership situation in USWA is sort of a mess. No one really knows what's going on, but it seems like the new owners, who were a couple of Cleveland businessmen, seem to be spending a lot of money on things like new sets and making the show look better. But there hasn't been any new money coming in to offset it. USWA has survived for years because Jerry Jarrett, he's basically never spent any money and ran a bare-bones promotion while everybody else went out of business. There's a lot of rumors flying around about the future of the company. Yeah, it's dead.
I just laughed when you said, nobody knows what's going on. That can't be good.
Yeah,
Nobody knows what the hell's going on. We just show up and wrestle.
a couple of these rich Polacks from Cleveland came in here and took over. So that's a good sign, right?
So wait,
anyway.
So I just want to point out one more thing. Rich people, even though they have money, doesn't mean their company will survive, folks. Apropos of nothing.
I feel like,
I feel like
you're getting at something here, but
I'm not. I'm just talking crap.
Last story
I'm
I got here.
I'm not hoping for it, by the way. I'm just saying, don't sit there and act like you're untouchable because you got money. You're not.
I got more money than WWE. Sure.
Well, Dad does, but
yeah. Last story we got here. I don't know who this guy is, but I thought the story was kind of interesting. A former Olympic wrestler and later pro wrestler, Dale Lewis, died this week from leukemia. His amateur wrestling days His amateur wrestling days back in the 1950s and 60s ended up negatively affecting his later pro wrestling career. In college, Lewis went to the University of Oklahoma along with Bill Watts. Lewis and Watts had a wrestling match to see who would be on the school's varsity heavyweight wrestling team, and Lewis won. Oh man. Well, good thing.
I'm gonna guess since he wrestled him, white guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see, Dale Lewis wrestler. Let's see. Yeah, he's white. Okay, because I was going to say.
Cowboy would not be wrestling a black man. I'm just saying, but
if he faced him, he beat him out for varsity. That would explain a whole lot of Bill's hate.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, that's so that's like the genesis of the the villain origin story. The racist villain origin story. But anyway, that does it for the news and notes. Time to get into the event here after the break. But before we do, I know you like hockey. I'm not.
I love hockey. It's almost time.
Yeah, so you like hockey.
As of the day of this, as of the day of this airing, that's the correct English. Hockey preseason's starting. So yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah, there you go. So you like hockey enough for the both of us. I don't think I've ever seen a full hockey game in my entire life. So is it game or match? It's game, right? Hockey game. I know
it is, yeah.
Some sports are weird about it. But anyway, yeah. But you like hockey.
It's called a game. It's a match anywhere else. Merc.
Wow. Sorry. But if you like hockey, then you're going to love this podcast. It's going to be coming up in the break. What we're going to be talking about, it's from a friend of ours, Shaggy Von Doom, a.k.a. Kyle Sullivan, bringing you the Here in Puckburg podcast. Greg was on an episode talking about how he got into loving hockey and his San Jose Sharks and all that good stuff.
We're going to kick ass and win it all this year.
Yeah, I see you guys.
Kyle's going to hear this, and he's going to send me some tweets about it and laugh, but we're going to take it all. So
yeah, he likes all your
Don't
favorite
worry,
teams,
Shaggy,
man.
we'll still be friends.
He likes all your favorite teams, man. He likes the Avalanche. He likes the Broncos. I mean, gosh.
And I genuinely like this guy, by the way. So, think about that.
I don't know what baseball team he likes, though. I forget.
I assume it's the Rockies. I could be wrong. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on this. And if we have, I got a bad. So
wasn't there an odd like college team he liked where I was like, what the F?
I know the Titans were one of the ones he liked, a pro football team.
Oh, no, that's right. Because didn't you say Roll Tide or something like that? And he was like, no.
Yeah, he likes the other Alabama team.
Yeah, with shoot, I don't even remember what it is now off the top of my head.
It's Auburn, right?
Yeah, sure, Auburn. But yeah, that one.
It's like one of those. It's like when you go to LA and you meet the random Clipper family. What? Clippers?
That's like
Clippers right there.
Yeah, right. No, it's literally the same building. What are you doing? It's like when you're a Jets fan, you could be a Giants fan. You literally play in the same place. But anyway, we're going to tell you about that going into this break. And on the other end, it's the event at hand in your house. Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
By God! Somebody's interrupting the Main Event Marks! Sit down, JR. It's just me, Kyle Sullivan, a.k.a. Shaggy Von Doom, your host of Here in Puckburg on the Hockey Podcast Network. I know, a hockey show on Main Event Marks. Who would have thought? This is an invasion angle. Somewhere between the Nexus and when WCW tried to invade WWE, somewhere in there. But I'm over here just telling you that one half of your tag team champions over here, Greg, he told his story of his love for the game of hockey over on my show. And if you'd like to hear that story, all you have to do is search here in Puckburg, wherever you get your podcast, or on YouTube. In the meantime, Shagamania's got to go run wild on some other hockey show. So, just remember, quote the Raven, nevermore, take your vitamins, say your prayers, and oh yeah!
Hey gang, it's Commissioner Cooper of TSS Fantasy. We are the fantasy show of the people. Expert fantasy advice, free contests, leading expert medical and legal analysis, and most importantly, you. Interact with us on all social media platforms or check us out at tssfantasy.com. You can hear us on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many more. Check out the fun today and be a part of the most interactive fantasy show around. TSS Fantasy, the fantasy show of the people.
Let's go! I got miraculous flows attacking my...
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/Main Event Marks.
With precision, I made a decision. Either bury you alive or in the middle...
And we're back.
We're back.
It's WWF Ground Zero in your house. It took place on September 7th, 1997. The tagline, that's the bottom line. And Austin is on the show. He doesn't wrestle.
Okay, I thought the tagline was Ground Zero.
That's what I thought too until I looked it up. I'm like, nope. Like, I think it's on the, like, if you get the tape, I don't think they ever made a DVD of it, but you get the old VHS. I think it was on the box. It said, that's the bottom line. Like, okay.
I always like the In Your House titles because if they said it the word first, it sounded weird, like the other way around.
Yeah.
In your house, like my house is Ground Zero, or in your house, beware of dogs. So I got to beware of my dog in my house. It just sounded weird in my damn head. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, In Your House was weird. I don't know when they started switching the titles around because this was the.
I want to say, because I know for a fact it's Rock Bottom In Your House in December in 1998. So I want to say we dropped it with No Way Out. I could be very wrong. That's
well,
in 1999 or Backlash in Your House.
I'm looking.
It's 99, I believe.
Well, because no, I'm talking about like switching around, like because it used to be like you said, it was In Your House, whatever the tagline is. Like the last one was In Your House 16 Canadian Stampede. So I guess this is the first one that they switched around.
And this is the first 3-hour one, right? 3-hour non-Big
Yes.
Four pay-per-view. Maybe that's a correlation.
Maybe, and it was. I saw the price point. It was $30 for this one. So like $10 an hour.
Which is not obviously not 15, which is what it was. So yeah, this supposed to be the whole change, which I didn't realize. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. So this was, I guess, the first one where they switched it around with the titles and everything. There you go. But we talked about Jim Cornette earlier. This show took place at the Louisville Gardens in Louisville, Kentucky. And the attendance was 4,963. You could tell this was not exactly a big venue, like especially when they do like an up shot where you can see I noticed it during the LOD's entrance. Like they look up and you can see the ceiling, and it's like, wow, that's like they got like a drop ceiling.
There were quite a few old Monday Night Raws like that too.
Yeah, the venues have certainly improved since those days. But the pay-per-view buy rate for this was...
Well, the venues might be the same, but they're just now going to basketball arenas.
Yeah, that's true. The pay-per-view buy rate for this one was 0.45. So, not bad, especially for, first 3-hour one. That they haven't conditioned people to buy their long pay-per-views around this time. WCW always did full-length ones.
Because if you go back and watch most of the what do they call it? The reports, the In Your House report, Wrestlemania report, whatever. You go back and watch all those. Todd Grisham always tells you it's $14.99. Like that's a huge thing in the reports. So
yeah. So this one, they're like, well, let's switch to a pay-per-view every month and whatever, because they do back-to-back pay-per-views here. So I mean, like I said, next month is Bad Blood.
Yeah, they literally just filled in all the gaps, the big fours within your houses.
Yep. And then they dropped that, and then they just started, they dropped the In Your House title, and they started having other ones. But yeah, I think I think after WrestleMania, the Backlash was the one after WrestleMania in '99.
It was. I don't remember if that was In Your House or not, though.
That was the final one. I remember that because it was like the first ever Backlash, and it was the final In Your House. So
the first ever non-In Your House, non-Big Four was the show where Owen Hart died. Good Lord. You can't write that.
Yeah. Well, that's sad. But either way, we get pretty much right into the first match after the opening packages. And it is Goldust with Marlena taking on Brian Pillman. If Pillman wins, Marlena has to be his slave for 30 days. But if he loses, he leaves the WWF forever. And this goes...
They really didn't care about using the word slave. Did you realize that?
Yeah, it's...
What? Not servant or personal assistant or whatever, something more PC. Nope, slave.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
And they insinuated...
In this week's...
Say what?
In this week's episode of Fly 2022, here you go.
Yeah, right. So, and they insinuated like sex slave, basically. Like, good Lord.
Oh, well, anyone, I'm not to spoil the ending, but if anyone who sees the videos on Raw of their goings on, yeah.
Yeah, and then he always like made her dress in like some real skimpy like leather outfits and whatever.
And would grab her ass under the dress coming out.
Yeah. Yikes. But yeah, I put on
1997 versus 02, folks. There you go. What a difference a quarter of a century makes.
Yeah, I love how slavery is a stipulation for a match, by the way. But we get a jump start from Goldust. Goldust went for the curtain call. The ref gets bumped. We see a metric ass ton of ref bumps tonight, by the way. Just putting that out there. Marlena then tries...
One per match, at least.
Yeah. Marlena then tries hitting Pillman with her loaded purse. Pillman steals it, cracks Goldust in the face. And he pins him to win. This will be Brian Pillman's final WWF pay-per-view appearance. Pretty sad. Uncle Dave and I both gave this 2.5 stars for average. What say you?
I gave it 2 as well. Was this also his last match? I feel like he didn't wrestle after this.
He was on a Raw after this. I think he wrestled on a Raw after this.
I know he was on quite a few Raws after this because of, like I said, the videos and stuff. But
yeah,
I don't remember if he wrestled or not.
Yeah, I don't remember for sure. Somebody out there can correct us if we're wrong. But yeah, he dies the weekend of Bad Blood. I think he dies the day of Bad Blood.
The day of, yeah.
Or at least that's when they found him. Sad. After the match, while Goldust is knocked out, Brian Pillman grabs Marlena and forces her to the backstage area while she's fighting him. Goldust eventually wakes up and runs after them. Jerry Lawler grabs the purse that was left behind, opens it up, and pulls out a brick. Good Lord.
I actually really love that. Like, so they're telling us it wasn't BS. This is like a legit thing.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was like, at least it's something. But backstage, Pillman rushes Marlena into a waiting car and drives off while Goldust runs after them. He eventually storms off into a dressing room and gets repeatedly bleeped out while he throws furniture.
This, I don't know if anyone caught it, or if you caught it, this was kind of like a throwback to SummerSlam 1990 when DiBiase fought Sapphire. Dusty Rhodes chased him out. So essentially just a throwback to that.
Huh, that's cool. I never would have thought of that. I gotta ask though, where do you get purses with bricks inside of them?
Loaded purses are us.
Okay,
it's nice little mom and pop.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because you can't take that on the road with you. I mean, you're gonna put that in your carry-on?
I mean, it's pretty thick.
Yeah, right. But up next, we've got the match of the night. It is Scott Putsky taking on Too Sexy Brian Christopher. This one goes.
I feel like he had some sarcasm in there.
Oh, not at all. I mean, and this goes
just making sure.
4 minutes, 45 seconds of awesomeness. So
the post of the last match was longer than this match. Just pointing that out.
Pretty much. Yep. Well, the crowd chants Jerry's kid at Christopher. Christopher actually hits the skull-crushing finale as a cutoff move. Did you see that?
I didn't. Oh, I don't know when the voice cracked. They just hit puberty live on the podcast. I didn't see that.
Yeah. Putsky comes off the ropes at one point. He grabs him, he grabs his arm, turns him around, and bam, skull-crushing finale. I'm like, what the hell? But in the end, Brian dumps Putsky outside and does a somersault plancha over the top rope. Putsky buckles and grabs his left knee. The ref checks on him and calls the match off. Scott Putsky reportedly suffered what was thought to be a torn quad and had surgery the next day. So that was legit.
I had no idea he legit got hurt.
I figured it was legit because it just seems so damn random. I'm like, why would he do an injury angle in this match? You know,
it was a weird place to do it. It's just I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, that poor dude tore his damn quad. Not like he had a super bright future, but this kind of killed any hope he had.
He does go to WCW for a couple of minutes.
I remember that, and nobody gives a damn there either. But either way, I gave it a 1.5 stars. Uncle Dave gave it a 0.5 star. Let's see you.
Okay, so I'm going to amend my notes here because I wrote this is the worst piece of crap ever. Why is this on the pay-per-view? But I did not know he was legit hurt, to be fair.
Well,
so for that, I'll go ahead and say match, 2 because maybe they were on their way to doing something.
I highly doubt it, but good on you for thinking that. Christopher was a decent, especially looking back. I appreciate his work a lot more. I think Brian Christopher was a good wrestler.
Some say he caught a bad break at birth, but that's just a rumor.
Yeah, right.
That's Jim Ross's, folks, not mine.
Yeah, I love that one. After the match, Jerry the King Lawler comes into the ring to celebrate with Brian Christopher. They then go to check on Scott Putsky, who's being helped by a trainer and 2 referees. Lawler starts mocking him on the mic. Putsky actually gets stretchered out of the building. There you go. Up next, we've got...
Okay, real quick. So he got hurt legit in this match.
Yep.
Lawler gets on the mic, runs him down.
Yeah.
Was that an audible, or was he always going to talk crap to him after the match?
Probably
what do you think about
both.
That?
He was probably always going to talk crap to him after the match, but he was also probably like, crap, we got to fill time. You could tell he went up and was like checking on him though. It was like, geez, is he really hurt? But not like he, was like, haha, you're hurt, F you, or something like that. He just did one of his little one-liner jokes and, like a little throw or whatever.
Ha-ha.
Yeah. But anyway, up next, speaking of haha, we've got a triple threat match. It is between...
Oh, I set him up, he knocks him down. What a freaking partnership we got here, dude.
Exactly.
Not even hurt, folks.
But this is Savio Vega versus Farouk versus Crush in 11.5 minutes. It is all 3 leaders of their groups. I know. Star power.
Asses in seats.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Right there. Because what do the rabid fans of Louisville, Kentucky want to see but the white biker dude with tattoos taking on the black militant guy taking on the Puerto Rican national?
Yeah, the whole World Cup right there in Louisville, man. What are you talking about, dude?
Exactly.
1998, this was a World Cup year, I believe.
Man.
I believe I could be wrong on that. I don't know the years, but I know it's every 4 years. And I know it's not the Olympic year.
Well, I love how triple threat matches were so new at this point in the WWF that they told us the rules to start the match.
Right. You know. This is essentially, I believe, an ECW ripoff, if I remember correctly. Don't hold me to that, but I think they invented or did WCW invent the triangle? I don't know. It's one of those two. WWE definitely did not invent this stuff.
ECW did it a lot. I guess they actually, like, Vince McMahon was so insistent that his guys wouldn't know how to book this thing that he actually had Pat Patterson and Bruce Pritchard call Paul Heyman. He's like, call him up, figure out how to book this damn thing. Like, really?
Well, you see, sir.
Like, I'm sure Pat Patterson could, well, he got the crush, and he come in, he hits the black man, and then the Puerto Rican come and boom, and yeah, it's just the gaga. I think I nailed it.
I think so. You're not quite as good as Brian Myers, but you're close.
Yeah.
He is the best one. His Pat Patterson is just crazy good.
In my defense, I'm doing Bruce Pritchard doing Pat Patterson, so there's that. But I did say, and you might have a different opinion of this, but I said it was a little sloppy, not that bad. I just didn't care very much.
I share the same opinion. My note said not as bad as I actually thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it got better as it went along. Say that.
Look, you know, all jokes aside about how stupid this was, these are three decent wrestlers.
Right.
I always thought Savio Vega was grossly underrated, but
yeah,
Crush was damn good. You know, Farouk is a damn Hall of Fame world champion. So,
right.
You know.
Yeah, I always like Crush. In the end, Crush hit the heart punch on Farouk. Savio nailed a spinning wheel kick on Crush and then pinned him to win. After this, Vince tried claiming that he doesn't think these men will ever be the same. Like, seriously? Like, they just went through hell? Uncle Dave said this was one of the worst matches of the year, and he gave it a -1.5.
Oh, shut the hell up. It was far worse. We literally reviewed far worse in this podcast this past month.
Right. I gave it 2 stars, slightly below average, but right up there. What say you?
I bumped it up to 2 because I don't know. I wasn't like, oh, good Lord.
Yeah, I wasn't
waiting.
Yeah, I wasn't a turd. This wasn't.
I wrote 1 to begin with, full disclosure. And this is the match I thought we were talking about earlier. Yeah.
Oh, no, there's one coming up.
yeah. So, or maybe that was the one. I forget. My brain's going. But yeah, I had it at 1. I gave it 2. I was like, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah. Well, we get a commercial now for the "Cause Stone Cold Said So" VHS tape, which
I had that.
I did not have that one, but I had the. I didn't own the one that came after this, but I rented it from the video store back when that was a thing.
WTF is that?
Throw it in your Google machine. Yeah, right. But up next, we've got the Minis. It's El Torito versus Max Mini in just under 9.5 minutes. This is not the same El Torito that was with Los Matadores about 15 years later.
Okay. So when I saw this, because I didn't look it up, I probably just forgot, like, well, the same one, right? Because, to be fair, not to spoil what I'm about to say, that El Torito could actually do stuff.
Right. Yeah, this one
was just, wow, oh, good Lord. Why are you here? As a joke?
This was Mini Vader. You remember Mini Vader?
I do. Jim Cornette's got a funny video on his YouTube helping Mini Vader piss in Penn Station in New York. Go listen to it. It's funny.
So this is a line I thought I would never say, but there was a lot of ass biting going on in this match. I'm not kidding.
Do not get ahead of me for next month.
Good Lord. Well,
I don't know how far ahead you are in watching, but you ain't seen nothing yet.
I haven't watched the show after this yet, so
you have not seen anything yet. So just hold your disbelief on that.
You're really setting me up for not wanting to watch that.
Hold on, I'm not looking at the schedule. It might not be the next one, but you're going to see it in the month of October. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, Max Mini runs up and sits on Jerry Lawler's lap, and then wears his crown while the crowd chants Jerry's Kid at him.
I laughed way too hard at that, dude.
This is freaking stupid, but it's funny. In the end, Max Mini runs and hits a running sunset flip for a pinfall victory. Uncle Dave gave it 2 3/4 stars. I actually gave it 3 stars. Thought they had a decent little match. What say you?
I gave it 2. It was a fun watch. I laughed a lot. And no, I not laugh because they're size, but the fact is they're smaller people and they do stuff in it.
They were doing funny spots.
I'm not gonna apologize for that because that's what it was supposed to be.
They were literally doing comedy spots. So hard at it. Yeah, if you didn't laugh, then it's like, ugh.
And I talk to Hornswoggle like a couple times a month, like personally via message. So he's one of my favorite people. So anyone thinks I'm being like I don't know what the word is against little people. I'm not.
Sizist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, up next.
Did I just do the equivalent of I can't be racist because I'm a black friend? I think I did. I apologize.
I can't hate little people. I've got a little person friend.
That's not how it was supposed to come out.
Although I have always said, because they're like, well, you can't say that. And it's like, can't I? It's like, I'm pretty sure an indication of I'm not racist is I have friends that are, of various ethnicities.
Yeah, right.
But either way.
I can go around the world with the freaking friends that I have. Jeez, I'm joking. When you work at Twitter, you amass a huge, diverse group of friends, okay?
Yeah, right? We're now showing a video now of Steve Austin getting pile-driven at SummerSlam by Owen Hart. Commissioner Sergeant Slaughter on Friday night's main event, which... Pause for that real quick. Friday night's main event, they did this like 2 weeks in a row because Raw was preempted by the U.S. Open.
It's always a U.S. Open or a stupid dog show.
Yep, you remember that garbage?
They still do it for the dog show, but I believe they kick the dog show off USA now. So
thank God.
So MSNBC or some crap, whatever. I don't know. Just that's where it's at.
Yeah, get it the hell off.
Time for naked men in oily naked men in tights to wrestle. Take the dogs off.
They're out there Donald Ducking it. Anyway, but Commissioner Sergeant Slaughter on Friday night's main event said that he would make Stone Cold Steve Austin surrender his tag team title and recover from his neck injury. We then go to live footage where Sergeant Slaughter is in the ring with Jim Ross. Slaughter says that he's doing his job to the best of his abilities, which means doing the unpopular thing sometimes. By the way, as a kid, I only knew Slaughter as Commissioner Slaughter. Like, that was the figurehead when I started watching wrestling. So, obviously, I think Gorilla Monsoon was better, but I don't know. I liked Sergeant Slaughter in this role. I don't know if he really.
Slaughter could get a little more physical too, and command respect.
The only time,
he also was a legit badass too. Not that Gorilla Monsoon wasn't, but
Gorilla Monsoon had that like Godfather thing to him, where it's like, oh, don't mess with him. Where which made it a bigger deal when Vader like laid his ass out.
All right.
So, but by this point,
DX over here giving Slaughter wedgies and spitting his face and stuff.
Yeah, the stuff he did with China. Yeah. I remember like the reason Gorilla stepped down at this time is his health was kind of deteriorating, so he just wanted to step away, which I respect that. Enjoy the last days of your life. Don't go on the road all the damn time. But either way, he calls out Dude Love to surrender his tag team title. Dude Love says that he could defend the titles alone, but he knows that it was Steve Austin who really helped him win those titles, so he's giving them up. And when Stone Cold's theme music hits, the crowd jumps to their feet and hit the damn roof. The babies get thrown in the air.
Literally.
Yeah. Austin flips the double bird to JR and steals his mic. He goes off on Slaughter and says that he can wrestle if he says he can wrestle, so Slaughter needs to let him. Slaughter doesn't back down, however, and he takes the tag title and leaves. JR says that he hopes that Austin can get back to 100% again, and Stone Cold drops his ass with a Stone Cold Stunner, which I believe was the first non-wrestler stunner in the WWF. So, I don't know. That's there you go. Setting up for the McMahon thing later on. But Dude Love has to hold him back as Sergeant Slaughter, referees, and EMTs check on JR. Austin eventually leaves before Ross can get help to the back. According to Uncle Dave, Ross was supposed to do a stretcher job, but they forgot to bring the stretcher back after Putsky had to be legitimately carried out on it, so he ended up being helped out by Slaughter. Dave also notes...
Why would you need a stretcher for a stunner? I don't believe him. I'm not buying
kind of
that.
Stupid. When JR was asked about it, he didn't dispute it, but then again, he said he can't really remember, so he doesn't know. But
I just don't see why you need a stretcher for getting a stunner.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb.
Austin got legit, his neck broke and walked out, so screw you.
That was just to prove he was a tough it. Yeah. But Dave also notes that Vince McMahon seems really tired on commentary. Sure.
He's tired of his BS.
Yeah, right. Well, backstage, Doc Hendricks is interviewing Owen Hart and British Bulldog. Owen says that what Stone Cold Steve Austin did to Jim Ross was insane, and he should be also stripped of the Intercontinental title, fined, suspended, and jailed for the assault of a color commentator. Man. But Bulldog says that even though Ross is from Oklahoma, he didn't deserve to be assaulted. I don't get that one. It's like, why is the British guy ragging on Oklahoma? I can understand if he was like from Texas.
You don't remember that? You don't remember that famous Manchester United versus Oklahoma soccer team rivalry? You don't remember that?
Yeah, sure.
You don't do any research for the show, dude. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, that's weird.
I bet someone's gonna hear this and think I'm serious.
On commentary,
smoking.
Yeah, right. Okay. On commentary,
soccer in Oklahoma. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh hell no. They don't play football either, but that's a different story.
Wow, I say it.
Oh, I'm gonna get some hate on that one. But on commentary, Vince McMahon says that Steve Austin is a jackass and may be willing to suffer paralysis, but the WWF isn't willing to suffer for him. There you go. I don't think
I'm loving this whole thing, man. This build-up is just fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. And the fans didn't have to see Austin wrestle at this time. They were just happy to see him, and he comes out, hits a stunner, and see ya.
Well, Patriot said they had more ratings with him not wrestling than they did with him wrestling. Like,
yep.
That's crazy to think about.
You can get some damn mileage out of Austin just doing this stuff. And he proved it years later when he was hurt again, and he had to those skits with him, Vince, and Kurt backstage. There you go.
And of course, with him and Bischoff were great.
Oh yeah, that whole thing where Bischoff had to go hunt him down in Texas. I loved that.
Right.
But
Steve
next,
Austin, maybe people should amend that. Stone Cold the wrestler was never really a draw. Stone Cold just being there was a draw.
Yeah, right.
Maybe it's proven. But...
Yep. Up next, this was the match that Dave liked it better than that triple threat, but this was the one I thought was a damn mess. It was the Headbangers of Mosh and Thrasher taking on the Godwins of Henry O. Godwin, Phineas I. Godwin, Hog and Pig, taking on the British Bulldog and Owen Hart, and finally taking on the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal. They call it a Fatal 4-Way for the WWF Tag Team titles. It was just shy of 17 and a half minutes. We get probably the first Fatal 4-Way in WWF history, in name only, by the way, on this event. And we know this because they tell us the rules yet again before the opening bell. This is not a Fatal 4-Way. A Fatal 4-Way means one fall to a finish. This is a four corners elimination match. I did think it was funny to see a tracking line go across the screen. The first time I noticed it was during the Headbangers entrance. I'm like, man, that's the old tapes for you.
Also tells you where they got the master from this from.
Yeah, right. That infamous Road Warrior pop was still alive and well in '97, by the way, because they hit the freaking roof.
It was, but you can tell they were trying harder because there's not many people here.
Yeah, right. But we hear interviews from the Headbangers, Godwins, and LOD before the opening bell. Owen and Bulldog are the only ones who look like actual wrestlers in this match. Mosh and Thrasher look like...
Oh, wait. Mosh and Thrasher didn't look like wrestlers to you?
They look like they were ready for a 90s goth concert. like going to a Cold Chamber concert or some crap. The Godwins look like
You have no idea how spot on you can be.
Yeah, right. Godwins look like they're ready for a day on the farm, and the LOD look like cartoon characters. I hated the rule that the partner could be tagged in, and partners had to fight. That was so dumb. That would actually come into play.
This would be a New Age Outlaw thing one day. And
yes.
By the way, I don't know if anyone's seen it, but a couple weeks ago on SmackDown, Xavier Woods and Kobe Kingston tried to do this. They tried to pin one another to win the match. But it's still alive and well, folks. Great.
I always thought that was dumb.
And of course, the New Day would bring that back. Of course.
Yeah, if it's going to be somebody, definitely them. But when Lawler asked McMahon who he liked in this match, he said, "I like the referee. It's Tim White, so that's wise." I got incredibly bored. Say what?
That's true. It is wise.
I got incredibly bored, as you may be able to tell from my notes so far, watching this match. It starts to heat up about in the last third. Godwin's introduced a slot bucket. LOD steals it, bash the Godwins' heads in with it, and Tim White disqualifies them, which eliminates them from the match. The Headbangers eliminated the Godwins when Thrasher pinned Phineas with a sunset flip. Finally, when the referee's distracted, Stone Cold Steve Austin runs out and hits a stunner on Owen, allowing Mosh to pin him and win the match and the World Tag Team titles. Uncle Dave gave it a dud. I gave it dose stars. What say you?
I gave it 2, but man, it sucked. Why didn't they just I'm just trying to. Why didn't they just have a tournament on Raw or something? The last two teams
tournament, bro,
here for the titles.
Yeah,
I know Austin part of the committee forfeited the tag titles. They hadn't he hadn't relinquished the tag titles yet. I get it, but we knew it was coming, right? They could have had that on Raw, and that was only one of my notes, by the way. This match could have been on Raw.
Yeah, well, wasn't very good. I'll say that. And then backstage,
you're being generous with that review.
Yeah. Backstage, the Headbangers are partying with a group of fans and a woman with big jugs wearing only a green bra. Quite an eclectic group. Now, backstage, also...
The old Motley Crue.
Yeah. In the locker rooms, Sergeant Slaughter is talking with Jim Ross, who has an ice pack on his neck. JR says that he's pissed. It's BS that Steve Austin, that because Steve Austin is popular, he gets away with this kind of stuff, and he didn't come to the WWF to be whipped. Slaughter says that he'll do whatever he can to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And he fails. But we now go to Sonny standing by with the Patriot. Patriot said that
all the way live. Sonny too.
I was going to say, you mean the Patriot? Yeah. Hey, he's got that Starrcade main eventing tan, man, and he's hella ripped and jacked, trimmed, jacked, chiseled, all that good stuff. But Patriot said that he's beaten Bret Hart once, and he'll do it again. He doesn't care if Bret has his family hiding somewhere. He's got to win. You can definitely tell that the Patriot's from South Carolina when he talks. South Carolina! After this match, we get Michael Cole standing by with Bret Hart. Cole says that Hart is going
This is his debut, I believe. I want to say it's his debut.
Huh. Yeah, I don't remember.
I had seen him before.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember. But, yeah, he's a nerd with a mic here, per usual. But he says that Bret is going out into enemy territory, but Bret says that he's a champion of the world, not of America. He says everything he does in his matches, he does to the fans who turn their backs on him. Bret says that he's going to kick the crap out of the Patriot and enjoy doing it. I will say, character-wise, I think this was like peak Bret in 97. He did some good stuff here. But either way, up next is Bret Hart defending the WWF title, not in the main event, against the Patriot. It goes just shy of 19 and a half minutes.
Real quick, I just realized 2 pay-per-views, Bret's the champion, and he doesn't close. And then the next one is the infamous Survivor Series. I didn't realize that.
Nuts.
Maybe CM Punk is like his hero after all. Maybe you should shut the hell up about all that, not Manny Benny.
Yeah, right. But there's a big sign on Hardcam that says, "I am naked." I think that sign is a lie.
I looked. I didn't see junk, but
I didn't see nothing, bro. But the Patriot works the arm of Bret a lot. Bulldog ends up coming to the ring mid-match. He breaks up a pin, and then Vader comes down to double-team the Bulldog with the Patriot. The ref gets bumped again as the Patriot nails a full Nelson slam, but he's late to the count, allowing Bret to kick out. Patriot ends up locking in the sharpshooter, but Bret trips the Patriot and locks in the sharpshooter of his own for the submission victory. Uncle Dave gave this 3.25 stars. I gave it an even 3. What say you?
I gave it 3 as well. I really like this.
It was pretty good. The post-match is where it's at, though, because after the match, Bret attacks the Patriot, dropping him with a pile driver, then continuing his assault even after the move. Bret then takes the Patriot's flag, American flag, he snaps it in half, and then chokes the Patriot with it. The referees and agents all rush the ring to break up the attack, but they're unsuccessful. Bret finally stops and leaves when he's damn good and ready. Uncle Dave said that between the submission loss and followed by the assault post-match, he said it was a complete burial of the Patriot.
Yeah, hard to argue that.
I mean, I guess I could see it for both sides. I don't know. But in the parking lot...
Well, the fact that he doesn't really do anything after this, that kind of tells me
That's true. I guess he had injuries and a substance abuse issue that WWE didn't know about when they hired him, so that sucks. Because I thought he was good in the ring and he had a great look. Bro. But in the parking lot, Michael Cole tells the Hart Foundation that it looks like the war is starting back up again. Bret Hart said that there's no war because all Americans are losers. The British Bulldog says that they only respect the UK and Canada. And Bret says that at least the UK respects great wrestlers like them. And
you can't be pro 2 countries. That makes no sense to me.
It's like, well, we only like these 2 countries. Everything else can suck it. But after that, we get the guy who would be on the other side of the ring from Bret in a couple of months. It is Shawn Michaels being interviewed by Vince McMahon from the commentary table. Shawn says that he will never rest in peace, and tonight he will end The Undertaker because he can. And that takes us to our second to last break. When we come back, it's main event time right after this. Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Thomas, and what's your name?
I'm Alan. Oh, yeah. We're brothers.
That's right.
Yeah. Got same mother and father.
Your room was...
Oh, we shared a room.
Shared a room?
We shared a room.
Thought I knew your face.
Yeah, we go way back, mate. Yeah.
We should do a podcast then.
We have.
We do a podcast?
We do a podcast.
What's it called?
The Broadcast. Yeah, that was planned.
Yeah. Well.
What do we do?
Well, we cover all different things in the world of pop culture. We're talking about comic books, we're talking about professional wrestling, and we're talking about movies. Go back and watch classic retro wrestling events, the likes of WWE, WCW, and if you do like that, you can check us out on Apple iTunes, also on Podbean, Anchor, and on Podknife. Also check us out on Twitter at The Broadcast. That's BROKAST. Nearly stuffed up the ending.
No, it's all right. Good on you.
Yeah. Instagram also at The Broadcast Podcast.
Remember, we don't spell it with a C. We spell it with a K.
Sorry, mate.
Take it easy.
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/Main Event Marks. And we're back. It's Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker in the main event. Goes just shy of 16.5 minutes, but there's a bunch of stuff before the bell, too. Because The Undertaker comes in and knocks the ref out before the bell even rings. Michaels bails, and The Undertaker tosses the ref on top of him outside the ring. Taker beats Shawn up all over the stage set and the ringside area. Finally, Michaels gets the upper hand just as Earl Hebner runs out and officially starts the match. The ref takes an accidental chair shot from The Undertaker. Then Rick Rude comes out to give Shawn Michaels brass knuckles. Shawn knocks the Taker out, and a new ref runs out, number 3, by the way. But the Undertaker kicks out, and Shawn Michaels tosses that referee out of the ring, knocking him out. Hunter Hearst Helmsley and China now come to the ring to beat on the Undertaker. This is a mess.
I'm starting to think this is what you were talking about in the opening when you said it was hell overbooked, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
want to assume.
HBK knocks out the ref again on purpose. Shawn's bleeding under his left eye for some reason. I didn't see what opened him up, but could have been anything. After Shawn Michaels kicks out at a near fall again, the Undertaker chokeslams Earl Hebner. Finally, Tim White runs out and just throws the damn match out. Despite shenanigans, it was I thought it was entertaining. Uncle Dave said it was an overbooked mess, yet he still gave it 3.25 stars. I gave it an even 3. What say you?
I gave it 2. And this is the match this is what I was talking about, my biggest pet peeve in wrestling. You should never, ever end a pay-per-view on a double DQ.
Yeah.
What were we talking about a minute ago when I said it was the same thing as this? Oh, Unforgiven. Also, I think it was a DQ.
Yeah, I think so.
Stupid. It's stupid. It's a pay-per-view. It's not an episode of your TV. Why the hell would you end a pay-per-view with a double DQ?
This thing was just a mess. You got 5,000 ref bumps. You've got like 500 run-ins. Like, my gosh. But after the match, the Undertaker throws Hunter Hearst Helmsley into Shawn Michaels, and a brawl breaks out again. Shawn hits Sweet Chin Music, knocking the Undertaker back into the ropes and tying him up. China hands Michaels a chair, but the Undertaker manages to break free, and he starts beating everybody up. However, when he goes for the tombstone on Michaels, Helmsley breaks it up. Michaels beats up agents and referees that come to the ring as Helmsley eats a tombstone. Somebody had to. Mid-card wrestlers.
Way to elevate Triple H to the next level, by the way, as we were talking about earlier.
Hey, at least he got a tombstone from a top guy, so there you go.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, oh, we're going to build him up. He's going to get the ass kicked of a lifetime at the end of the pay-per-view.
Right. Mid-card wrestlers all rush to the ring now, and they all get beaten up one by one by Taker. He's eventually held back in the ring by other wrestlers, as other wrestlers pull Michaels outside. Finally, the Undertaker runs and swan dives over the top rope onto everybody. I believe this was the first time he ever broke that out.
I had it in my notes. It was a nice, unique thing back then. Now everyone does it nightly.
Right. Yeah, well, this giant freaking man doing it was like, damn, dude. He's skied. But either way, Helmsley, Michaels, and China finally all run off to freedom while the Undertaker gets angry in the ring. We close the show with Undertaker posing in the blue lights. And that brings us to our final break.
Undertaker must pose.
Yeah, Taker must pose, pal. God dang it. But we're going to take our final break. On the other end of this, we're going to tell you final ratings and what's coming up in October on the podcast. Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
What's up, everybody? I am the hardest part of the ring, the host of the Apron Bump podcast. Ugh. Another wrestling podcast. How many times can I listen to fans tell me who needs a push, who doesn't need a push, who brings Vince's coffee these days? Enough! The Apron Bump is about the journey. It's about nostalgia. It's about discovering new forms of wrestling to really tickle your pickle as a wrestling fan. The podcast brings you reviews of wrestling events all over the world, whether it's WWF, WWE, WCW, ECW. We even cover the golden eras of Ring of Honor, Progress, TNA, and more promotions in the future as well. New episodes every Wednesday. Bump Day. Yeah. Go to apronbump.com or go to your favorite podcast platform or YouTube and subscribe today for the most diverse, fan-friendly wrestling podcast in the world. I'm Hard.
Let's go. I got one. Reckless flows, attack.
Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/main event marks. And we're back.
We're back.
Final ratings time. Internet Movie Database gives us 6.3 out of 10. CageMatch.net gave it 4.87 out of 10. Damn. I actually give it 7.5 out of 10 for probably C-. I thought it was entertaining. What say you?
I'm right there. I felt like you and I watched this together. First time we were in sync, all pay-per-view, I believe.
Almost, yeah.
I said C- as well.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't.
I said it was
wasn't
the show
crap.
to get to the other show that was getting to the other show, and I stand by that. So points for that, I guess.
Right. Yeah, it's not. It wasn't bad for a throwaway pay-per-view. I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Some other ratings would have you believe otherwise, but I don't know. But that does it for the month of September, man. Another month down. Now we're going into the month of Halloween. We're officially in fall, and we're bringing you on October 5th, opening up the month with Bound for Glory, TNA Bound for Glory 2007. Hopping back on that TNA 07 train.
Oh, yeah. This one might actually be good, though.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Bound for Glory is usually pretty good. So, October 12th, we might have a three-man booth for this one, man. It is ECW's Anarchy Rules 2000.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't watched anything from ECW yet, or excuse me, from October yet. So, yeah, I'm going to assume it's not good because it's ECW. But I think I hated the year 2000 in ECW slightly less than previous years. So I guess
I think it was their best year, personally.
And it was a year before they went out of business. October 19, we're bringing you WCW Halloween Havoc 1997. So we're jumping a month ahead of this show that we just covered in WCW. However, for this event, it's Cage.
Rumor has it the pay-per-view completely finishes for people too. So see how that goes.
Yeah, it says that main event something, man. I'll tell you. And the bonus show for that week is WWF Raw is War from October 11th, 1999. The significance of that is it's the first Raw ever coming to you live from the Georgia Dome. That's WCW stomping ground, and they completely crapped on the Georgia Dome the last time they were there. So we'll see how WWF fares with Raw. And finally, closing out the month, October 26th, we're bringing you one more Bound for Glory. It's TNA Bound for Glory 2005.
Very first one.
Yes. I don't think I've seen it before. So I got to go back and watch.
It's not that bad, actually. I'd be surprised.
TNA in 05 was like up and down, hit and miss. But I still enjoyed it. But it was, like I said, it was hit and miss for the most part for me. I'm looking forward to that. Also in October, YouTube exclusives, we're bringing you some watch-alongs. So go check those out. It's Halloween Havoc watch-alongs, by the way, that I'm putting some video to so you can actually watch along with us. Should be fun. I'm proud of what we did. The audio quality is a little different because of the way we recorded those, but I thought they were pretty good. Not to pat ourselves on the back, but I think you'll enjoy it
Barry
too.
Horowitz.
Yeah, some fun.
Legendary Jewish wrestler.
My God, some extra little fun stuff that you don't have to pay for, and more content, more bang for your buck. So go subscribe to us on YouTube, and thank you for joining me today, Greg.
Yeah, sure, it wasn't that bad.
And it's our first WWF show in a little while, so that was cool. And we will see you all next week as we head over to TNA in 2007 for Bound for Glory.